Namaskaram to all of you. Om Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Sajjit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine Om Aim Swami Vivekanandaya Namaha Om Aim Swami Vivekanandaya Namaha Namo Namaha. Namaskaram to all of you and welcome you all to the Love India Forum conducted by Vivekananda Vedic Vision Foundation, Kodungalur, under the devoted leadership of Lakshmi Didi, Sudhakar and others in the team. Last few Saturdays we have been discussing about this divine touch, and we also distinguished between the divine and the human, how divine encompasses in itself all that is positive, strength-giving, and that which is fulfilling. And that is what makes it a divine thing, something that is total and whole, and therefore it is divine. Whereas in the human we find there are fragmentation, and because it is fragmented, everything that is good and wonderful there in the human also becomes fragmented. So each one of us have three layers in us: the divine, human and the beastly or the animalistic proportion. Slowly we come to human dimension, and by making the beastly or animalistic tendencies dormant, slowly we transcend the human dimension and try to manifest the divine dimension, which is one of our innate nature. Our own nature is divine, as Vivekananda calls in his famous shloka, or what you can call as doctrine: each soul is potentially divine. So that touch gives a sense of fulfillment in our life, and as it starts expressing in our life, people start feeling that there is something divine surrounding this person by his acts, by his talks, by the events of his life and by his writings. And coming in contact with such a person, we find we are elevated and uplifted. We have been discussing about some of such events in Swami Vivekananda's life. Today we will try to conclude that, though it will not be a real conclusion in the sense that there are hundreds of events in Swamiji's life where we find this divine touch expressing itself in variegated forms. But for our convenience, we are culminating with today's talk on divine touch and launching upon the next other dimensions of Vivekananda's thoughts based on Love India, and how a saint gives a leadership quality through his life to India, thereby delineating that India essentially is a spiritually oriented country. So as we went through some of the incidents which were inspiring and quite thrilling, today we will be taking up 5 to 6 incidents which are of different nature and where we find the divine touch manifesting in different dimensions through the life incidents of Swami Vivekananda. First, we will take up one of the beautiful incidents which is very touching, and it's a surprising thing how Swami Vivekananda could express this motherly feminine attitude through his life. As he was in Maharashtra during his wandering days, Swami Vivekananda exhibited this marvelous quality of the love of a mother, Matrabhava. He was staying in the house of Dr. Moropant Vishwanath Joshi, and for a month he was staying there. He had two daughters, and during Swamiji's stay, the second daughter Kamala was born, and for some reason or other, not known to parents, every day night the small child used to go on weeping throughout the night, making it impossible for mother to sleep. And whole daytime mother had to do all the household chores and take care of Swamiji also as a guest, who was a really engaging guest both spiritually and also otherwise. In a joyful way, Swamiji used to keep everybody engaged. On the third day, Swamiji found that the mother is getting tired, and Swamiji could observe that after the whole day's work, whole night as the child Kamala was crying, mother could not sleep whole night, and then next day she had to again get up early morning and take care of all the guests who are assembled in the house where Swamiji was staying. Seeing this, one day he told the mother of Kamala that you kindly hand over that child to me at night and I will take care of the child at night. That was a tremendous blessing unsought for the child. What we call as Purva Sukrutam, or the previous births, Punya Phalam or merit. The child had done something wonderful, and Swami Vivekananda asked the mother, kindly hand over the child to me at night so you can sleep peacefully and next day morning you can take care of the duties. And mother was little hesitant, especially handing over a child to a sannyasi who is not known to her. Even now in Kerala, many times I hear that parents don't want their sons to go to ashrama because there are sannyasis, and that if he goes to the ashrama, the boy also will become a monk. So don't go to the ashrama. So we find it very difficult for ashrama to get youngsters in the ashramas. Whereas in other states, this fear is not there. In olden days, this fear was there, an apprehension that sannyasi might tempt and the boy will leave the house. In fact, in the life of most of the saints like Mirabai and others, we find that some sannyasi suddenly on the way comes and talks, and the whole mind undergoes a transformation. What they call in the Shastra, Sajjana Sangati Kshanam Api Eka. A momentary touch, a momentary contact with a saint transforms the whole mind, and the hidden spirituality which is latent inside, it blossoms up and the man renounces the world and goes away, leaving the whole society wondering what has happened to this man. He was all right yesterday. Suddenly how he has changed so much. And in Dakshineshwar, people used to tell that there is a mad Brahmin in the Kali temple of Dakshineshwar, and that man, whoever youngster goes to him, he spoils their brain, and they all start renouncing the world and run behind God, Kali and other things. So this has been the complaint against many of the saints. And Sri Ramakrishna used to tell humorously that I have got the curse of many of the mothers, because most of the mothers, educated houses, the sons have come and joined, and they're all staying in Dakshineshwar and they're all becoming monastics. So this fear was naturally there in the society. It is there even now also. So the mother was little afraid how to hand over. But Swamiji was a man of God. He could convince the mother, and then he took the child into his room at night. And then what happened is being beautifully narrated by the sister of Kamala. That Swamiji took the sister of Kamala. Her name was, Kamala's sister name was Lakshmi Bai Rajwadi. That Swamiji took Kamala into his room, the small child, put the child onto his lap and entered into deep meditation. That is a tremendous blessing a child can get during her infancy. That lying in the lap of mother is one blessing, but lying in the lap of a sannyasi who emitted motherly tenderness along with spiritual greatness and spiritual culture, that he entered into deep meditation, and without any disturbance or without any noise, the small girl Kamala also entered into deep sleep. Swami Vivekananda used to meditate the whole night, not for a day or two, but for the whole month. Many days went like this, and then Kamala also had the touch of spiritual motherly tendencies and tenderness from Swami Vivekananda. And this Kamala in her later days became the queen of Sangli, Maharashtra. Her name was Saraswati Bai Sahiba. She was the Queen Rani and had to face innumerable problems. But in spite of all those detrimental situations and challenging situations, Lakshmibai Rajwade says, my sister Kamala never lost the balance of mind or the coolness of temperature. She was always balanced. This we used to feel that especially is the contribution and the grace and the blessings of Swami Vivekananda. So this is a typical touch we get from the saint. Though we may be afraid that the saint will do something, but the touch of the saint awakens the latent spiritual tendencies, and there is a great transformation in the character of the person. And how it came to the light was as Swamiji went to his room and bolted the room from inside. Either the sister or mother, through the keyhole, peeped into the room of Swami Vivekananda to see what he is doing with the child. And within few minutes, as the child became calm and quiet, they were surprised, and as they peeped through the keyhole, they found that Swami Vivekananda is in deep meditation. The child is on the lap, and then child also has gone into deep sleep. Perhaps it had meditation during the sleep because of the divine touch of Swami Vivekananda. This is a very unusual event which we find in the life of a saint, and in the life of Swamiji it is a really inspiring event. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say that by a touch Narendra could give spirituality. And in fact Swami Vivekananda during his wandering days once tells that I will go to Himalayas and I will not come back unless I feel I can give spirituality by a touch. In fact, before going to Himalayas itself, he had in abundant quality, as he got it verified during Shivaratri in Dakshineshwar, where Swami Abhedananda touched him, and Abhedanandaji could get the touch of oneness, the transcendental reality of Satchidananda, the Advaita experience by touching Swami Vivekananda. So Swamiji had imbibed that quality and the spirit in himself, but the master warned him not to utilize it and then spend it without taking care and accumulating in good quantity. But at times, naturally, as the jasmine exudes fragrance and the sandalwood emits its own natural fragrance, it was natural for Swamiji, whose heart was always rooted on feeling and compassion, that whenever situation demanded, in spite of himself, it burst out, and Swamiji found that his spirituality is crossing all the boundaries and overflowing. In fact, as I told in one of the previous classes, he is a radioactive spiritual personality. A radioactive means if you keep a chemical substance, which is called radioactive substance, it will emit rays all over, and people who are sitting surrounding the chemical, they will be affected by the radioactive effect of that chemical substance. Like the sun's rays being emitted and it is moving forward, the rays emitted by the radioactive substance will be emerging out, and it will be slowly occupying the atmosphere surrounding it. Whoever comes within the orbit of that radiation will get affected, like the radiation of X-ray or the ultraviolet rays. If you stand too much near the ultraviolet rays, it can affect you. X-ray also can affect you too much if you stand in front of it. So if you stand in front of Swami Vivekananda or Sri Ramakrishna or Holy Mother Sharada Devi, you are bound to be affected positively, creatively, and in a healthy way, in a spiritual way. So Sri Ramakrishna had this quality in abundance, and Swami Vivekananda had imbibed it. Once when he had come to Chennai, it was in Chennai that Swami Vivekananda was really found out to be the prophet of this modern age, as the youngsters under the leadership of Alasinga Perumal, Singaravelu Mudalayar and others, they all came together and gathered. We find this quality was radiating, and it was coming out oozing like sugar juice from the sugar cane or juice from the Rasagulla, oozing out, all this juice coming out. Swamiji was oozing out spirituality, like sweat coming out from our body. So one day, some of these youngsters who came to meet Swami Vivekananda, they started getting engaged in a spiritual discussion. And suddenly Swami Vivekananda found that his mind had entered into a different mental condition, and a different mood enveloped him. And a sort of spiritual radiance started overpouring and outpouring from the personality of Swamiji. In that ecstatic mood, Swami Vivekananda suddenly blurted out, told that whoever or anybody touches me now, that man is bound to become a saint. This is something, a statement of staggering nature, to tell the people surrounding him that if you touch me, you will become a saint. That's I have never read in anywhere other than Swami Vivekananda's life, that by mere touch, a man can become saint, whatever may be his real nature. In the group of Alasinga Perumal, there was a person called Singaravelu Mudaliyar. He was a professor in one of the Christian colleges, and listening to the modern scientific viewpoints and imbibing modern theories from Christian religions, he started decrying Hinduism, ritual worship, image worship and all, and he had almost become like an atheist. So they all came to Swami Vivekananda just to test him with questions and then see how far he is a saint. So in that situation, as Swami Vivekananda told, whoever touches me now will become a saint, without even bothering about the repercussions. This Singaravelu Mudaliyar suddenly went and touched Swami Vivekananda. That's all. The moment he touched Swami Vivekananda, a terrific power like electric shock went through his body and mind, and the whole life of this man changed, who almost was on the verge of becoming a total atheist, a Nastika. He found that thought currents, the emotions, the feelings, and the whole personality has undergone a touch by a instantaneous touch with Swami Vivekananda. This is something marvelous when we are talking about character building and development of our will and so many other things. Here is a person who could give instantaneously, spontaneously by a touch without any effort. It's called effortless spontaneity. By a mere wish, mere touch, this man's life was transformed, who later on became an ardent devotee and disciple of Swamiji, and who contributed for the welfare of Ramakrishna Matan mission in helping and serving India. This is something very great. This is the real spiritual touch, the touch of a guru, touch of a master. What you call as transformative touch, parivartana sparsham. So this is something wonderful we find in the life of Swami Vivekananda. In India, how different varieties of things go on with cultural varieties, magics, road shows, circus and other things. One day Swami Vivekananda heard of a yogi. This is a land of miracle. There is some internet disconnection is there. Sudhakar, are you able to hear me? Hello? Are you able to
hear you, Swamiji?
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So, as Swamiji heard this news that there is a yogi in Hyderabad who can manifest things from void, Swamiji wanted to really verify and scientifically prove for himself whether it's a sleight of hand or a real magic or it's a real power. As he approached, there was a surprise waiting for Swamiji himself, and that was to give an identity of Swami Vivekananda's overflowing spiritual power. As Swamiji approached the yogi and asked him to show some of the magical tricks that he was performing, the yogi instantly recognized Swamiji as a great spiritual giant. The yogi was suffering from fever. He was having some temperature, and due to the temperature he was suffering, as soon as he sighted Swami Vivekananda, he told, I will definitely show some of my magic tricks. But before that, you must keep your hand on my head and bless me so that my fever will vanish immediately. Swami Vivekananda, just to see the magic that he was going to show, agreed. and put his hand on the head of the yogi, instantaneously the temperature became normal and the yogi was free from all the feverish tendencies of his body. This was something wonderful. And after that, Swami Vivekananda wrote something on the paper. He brought fruits, mangoes, this thing and that thing from below his own shawl which he was wearing. And he brought bowls of steaming rice. And Swami Vivekananda asked, how are you able to do it? And even he urged Swamiji that you can eat this steaming rice. From nowhere he brought. But in spite of all these things, that man told, your power is more superior to me. I am only bringing material power. But in your case, you can transform the whole sick body into a healthy body. That is something very, very great. So Swamiji's here we find the medicative touch. Previously also we heard about Swami Vivekananda sitting in his room on the first floor and Swami Sharadanandaji in the third floor. How Swami Vivekananda cured the malaria of Sharadanandaji. So this is where we find the divine touch is all inclusive, motherly touch, touch of compassion, a touch of gratitude, a touch of medicative touch. All these things which are really auspicious, which gives a feeling of fulfillment and a sense of fullness, all these are included in this. Now we will be slowly reverting to another one of the most miraculous thing that has happened and which reinforces our faith in the power of yoga and the immense capacity and the tremendous possibilities that are getting opened to a man who practices yoga. Once when Swami Vivekananda was in United States, there was a great famous singer like the Michael Jackson of modern days by the name Emma Calvey. This Emma Calvey was a great singer, and then she had a very tragic incident in her life. There is a great reflection here on the face. I think the reflection is increasing more. Okay. One day she had gone to give performance. She was a very well-known and capable opera singer. As she was giving performance, singing songs, audience were charmed and overpowered by the melodious voice of hers, and they asked one more song. She sang, accepting the request of the audience, but by the time she was singing, she felt some sort of uneasiness in her mind and felt that something is happening to her which is of evil nature, that something tragical or some sort of thing is happening to her which is not favorable to her. Hearing this song, the audience again roared with claps, and then they were all shouting appreciation, and they told one more song. And the organizer had to yield, and they requested Emma Calvey, just one more song. She told, no, I am feeling quite uneasy. I feel something, a misfortune or some accident or something is happening to me, and so I want to go back to my house where my only daughter is living. But then she had to yield. Hearing that song, the audience were so immensely pleased, they requested one more song. And by that time, she, without any willingness, she accepted and sang. She almost fell unconscious as she came back to the drawing room behind the stage. She felt that some inauspicious things are happening behind her in life. And after she regained consciousness and she went to her house, she found the whole house has been burned down and the only daughter has died in that fire accident. She was deeply depressed, heartbroken, and she wanted to commit suicide. So the tragedy, which has got its own pangs of sorrow, doesn't spare even men of great qualities or great talents or great capabilities. So one day she planned that she will jump into one of the ponds and then commit suicide. So she started coming out of the house and as per the plan wanted to go to the pond where she can jump and commit suicide. Unknowingly, some strange force pulled her legs and she went to one of her friend's house. She went to the house of her friend and spoke to her and came back, and it happened twice, thrice and some more times, strangely, and then every time she was resolving and then she is not successful. She goes to the house of her friends and comes back. But one day she strongly resolved, and as she went to the house of the friend, there was a great surprise, because it was in the house of that friend that the great Indian sannyasi, the cyclonic monk of Hindu Swami Vivekananda, was staying. And then the friend told, in my house there is a great monk from India who is staying, a man of great spiritual nature and a man of great proportions, a man of great capabilities and power. So Emma Calvé was asked by her friend to meet Swamiji. And she warned Emma Calvé that you will not open your mouth unless Swami Vivekananda speaks something to you. And listening to her friend's advice, as Emma Calvé slowly entered the room where Swami Vivekananda was staying, she found Swami Vivekananda like a marble statue, deeply drowned in meditation. It was like a chiseled marble statue drowned in deep meditation, wearing ochre robes flowing to the floor, and the eyes in deep meditation pointing to the tip of the nose. She went and silently sat down in front of Swami Vivekananda. Few seconds passed like this. To her great surprise, suddenly, without even lifting the eyes, Swami Vivekananda began to talk. My dear child, what a confused and strange times you are caught in. Be peaceful, be calm. That's very, very essential for your life. Swami Vivekananda never knew Calvé, did not even knew her name, and nobody had told him about Calvé's mental problems or agonies. So Calvé's friends also didn't know her inner conflicts and the problems she was drowned in. So this sent wave of shock in the mind of Emma Calvé, and she was really surprised. Who must have informed Swami Vivekananda about my innermost problems and conflicts of life? She opened her mouth and asked, Swami, how did you come to know about all these things? Did anyone inform you of my all problems? With a beautiful smile playing on his lips, Swami Vivekananda just lifted his head, looked at her and said, Child, do you feel that anybody should inform me about you? And Emma Calvé felt as if like a ignorant, foolish child. She has asked a question to one of the brilliant persons in the world. Swamiji told, nobody told me, and that is not necessary. Do you feel it is necessary that somebody should tell something about you to me? My daughter, like an open book, I am able to read you now. I am able to understand what is going on inside you, the great cyclone, the tufan, hurricane that is going on inside you. Kindly forget the whole thing. Become jubilant again. Be happy again. Take care of your physical health. Keep your health in good condition. Never sit in loneliness or solitude and burn yourself in your worries and torments of mind. Whatever emotions that you have, put it and channelize in a creative force and bring it out into this world. Your spiritual health needs it very much. And your art and talents also need it very much. This brought an unimaginable transformation in the life of Madam Emma Calvé. What is this touch of Vivekananda? This touch has got the touch of compassion, touch of a saint, the touch of transformation, the medicative or psychic touch. All the touches get combined and involved in this one of the most wholesome and uplifting touch in the life of Madam Emma Calvé. She became vivacious. She became jubilant. The whole personality got totally rejuvenated, and Madam Emma Calvé came to India. And when she came to Belur Math and sang, the General Secretary, the disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Sharadananda told, when I heard Emma Calvé sing, it looked as if 1,000 cuckoo birds are shouting at the same time. This Emma Kalve then arranged for Swamiji's travel fare to return back to India. So, in the life of Emma Kalve, we find that tragedy brought her to the doorstep of the cyclonic Hindu monk of India, and the whole life got transformed. So, this is a transformative touch we find in the life of Swami Vivekananda. Once engaging with Swami Vivekananda, engaged in conversation where he was talking about the oneness of the whole universe, Madam Emma Kalve asked, "If I become one with the universe, will I not lose my individuality?" Swamiji laughed loudly and he told, "You will not lose your individuality. You are not going to give up your individuality. Your individuality will become transformed into indivisibility." Like pacifying a small child, Vivekananda explained to Kalve, "See, my child, a drop of rain. As it was falling down from the sky into the ocean, the raindrop started crying and weeping, 'Oh mother, I am going to die.' And then the sky told, 'No, my child, you are not going to die. You are going to meet your father ocean, and once you meet him, you will always overcome death. You become deathless as you join the ocean. A drop of water mingling with the ocean becomes eternal. You lose your individuality, but you gain individuality transformed into indivisibility. What is indivisible cannot be destroyed." So this touch of oneness Swami Vivekananda imparts to Madam Emma Kalve, and the life of Emma Kalve gets totally metamorphosized, and her life also becomes very spiritual afterwards. She turns to spiritual life, and the whole life became a life of total fulfillment, giving joy, peace and blessings not only to herself but also to others. So this is something very soothing, and a very tender feelings come out of this. Though Swami Vivekananda always looks very strong, bold, courageous, a man of electrifying personality, outside he looks very robust and very strong and everything, but inside is so soft, so tender, so motherly, so loving, and so full of affection and grace, and full of divine qualities of unbound love. This is what we find in the life of Swami Vivekananda. Enriching others' life, and by that whoever comes in contact with Swami Vivekananda, they used to feel spiritually uplifted, and a great sense of inner satisfaction and joy ensues from that. During his wandering days, Swami Vivekananda, though he had renounced the world, he had one soft corner, and that soft corner was not only for the poor people of India, but also for the only tie which was in his life, earthly tie, that was his mother. He had great reverence, love and unbound liking for his mother. Every saint, it's a very strange phenomenon, that every saint who renounces this world and tells that this world is a Maya, almost every saint is unquestionably bound by mother's love. That is something supreme and divine. Even God cannot surpass mother as per Indian spiritual laws and thought currents, that love of mother is second only to God's love. So during his wandering days, once he was troubled by a ghost giving lots of suggestions and bringing informations. And once it gave an information that the mother is in sick health and the mother is in trouble, and so many disturbing things used to come to Swamiji's ear through this ghost. So he was very much disturbed because he was planning to go to the West. So at that time, once he told Pramadadas Mitra that I am getting such information, and yesterday a dream or something came to my mind that mother has passed away. Is it really true? Is what I am having as a vision or dream, or what the ghosts are coming and telling? Is it true? So Pramadadas Mitra, with the company of Alasinga Perumal, they find out a man who is able to foretell the future events. He was in one of the graveyards, Smashan Ghat. So in the Smashana they go, and this man with a ghoulish face, with matted hair and all, he was sitting there. So as they approached, this man became a little upset and became reserved, and he was not willing to communicate with them. And Swami Vivekananda got Alasinga Perumal to translate to him whatever this man was telling. So he wanted to verify whether what he saw in the dream, it is real or not. We will see about the beautiful touch of Swami Vivekananda. What a grand thing Swami Vivekananda gave to this man, who acted like a mantravadi, like a magician. Not even magician, it's like some sort of mantravadi, how to exorcist type of a person. So Swami Vivekananda approached him, and Alasinga Perumal told, we came to know that you have got wonderful powers and that you are able to foretell futures. So can you tell what exactly is the condition of this person's mother, showing Swamiji. Then Swamiji pressed on 10 rupees note. Slowly he yielded. Then he started drawing some designs on the ground. On the mud, he started drawing some designs, plans. And then he became deeply involved, and his eyes became one pointed on the plan chart, what they call as a plan chart. He drew a chart on the earth and became so focused, and the whole body and mind, everything became still like an image, like a statue. And then he told Swamiji that you have got tremendous spiritual powers inside you. I am able to see it. It will bring enormous wealth, fame and name to you. But you will be a spiritual prophet of this age. So do not be bothered. Your mother is in good condition and she is healthy. You will travel beyond the seas and you will spread the message of Hinduism to other countries, other continents, and you will bring back the past glory of India to its pinnacle, and you will be worshipped as a prophet and saint. So hearing this, Swami Vivekananda thanked him, and that man took the 10 rupee note which Swami Vivekananda gave to him. And then, relieved from the worries, Swami Vivekananda started on his voyage. And we know the story of how Swami Vivekananda went to the West, captured the West, came back triumphantly, and set the whole country on the path to freedom. So, on his return back to India, he lectured, electrifying the whole nation from Colombo to Almora. We know the famous lecture, and the book Colombo to Almora is well known among all the patriotic politicians of India in those days. And even now it is an inspiring, electrifying book for anybody who wants to know how to love India. If anybody wants to know how to love India, the best book is read Swami Vivekananda's Colombo to Almora. So Swami Vivekananda, traveling from Colombo, the lectures from Colombo to Almora, started from the Sri Lankan Colombo, comes back through Rameshwaram, through Pamban, and beautiful incidents expressing his unbound patriotic feeling, Desha Bhakti, all will be recollected and recounted in the next forthcoming sessions when we will meet. So as he was going through some of the places, lecturing and inspiring people in Tamil Nadu, he came across Kumbakonam. And this is where we find the greatness of Swami Vivekananda's personality, that he never forgets, as I had told in the beginning session, any small thing, small help, small favor, that Swami Vivekananda never forgets. That tremendous thankfulness, which Valluvar calls as one of the great signs of a great man, Nandri Marappadu Nandrendru. Never forget some help or favor or some good that is being done to you. Most of us forget it. And that's what differentiates an ordinary man and a divine man. And as Swami Vivekananda gave some of his most brilliant and fiery lectures in Kumbakonam, where the great Srinivasa Ramanujam was born, in spite of all those heavy engagements and powerful lectures Swamiji was delivering, as he was passing through and going to a meeting, as he started lecturing, suddenly his eye fell upon a man. In the huge crowd, Swami Vivekananda eyes could suddenly sight a man, and he told, "Hey, Govinda Shetty, hey, Govinda Shetty, come on, come here." See, he met him long before in the Smashana Ghat graveyard cemetery, and he was like a mantravadi magician, an exorcist. From all accounts, he is in a way insignificant. But for Swami Vivekananda, nobody in the world is insignificant. Inside each man, there is a significant person called God. So for Swami Vivekananda, nobody was an insignificant person. Everybody was significant. Seeing Govinda Shetty, his whole heart melted. Because this was this man who relieved Swami Vivekananda from the greatest worry and the botheration in the heart. What is going to happen to his mother? Swamiji had two weaknesses. One is motherland, other was his mother. So the love for motherland he could keep, but the love for mother, when it was disturbed, he was really disturbed. And this Govinda Shetty, he relieved Swamiji from this mental trouble, distress. So as Swami Vivekananda sighted him on the crowd, he shouted and called him by his name and asked him to come near, spoke to him for 2 minutes, and he told, "Tomorrow you will come and meet me." Few years before, I was in Kumbakonam and I saw the house of that Govinda Shetty. It is still there. His was the only house having a ground floor plus first floor. He had enormous wealth because he could foretell future, he could tell what is going to happen, he could foresee and predict, and this brought immense wealth to him. And they say his was the only house in those British time when he had ground floor plus first floor in that area, in that colony of Kumbakonam. So as next day when Swami Vivekananda and he met, Swami Vivekananda suddenly went near him, caught him in tight embrace and held him in that embrace. Swami Vivekananda held Govinda Shetty in his embrace. What a marvelous scene it is it not? Where is a man who is doing exorcist work? Exorcism means driving out ghosts and pretas from one's body and doing all those magical things. Irrespective of his profession, Swami Vivekananda called him, and as he came, just held him and put him under tight embrace. And within few seconds, torrents of tears started streaming down the eyes of Govinda Shetty. Just mere touch and embrace, something happened inside the heart and mind of Govinda Shetty, and his eyes started pouring tears continuously. "What have you done to me, Swamiji? What have you done to me?" In that embrace, Swami Vivekananda instantaneously removed all his supernatural powers. Vivekananda told him, "Govinda Shetty, you are a man with tremendous powers and capabilities. I know that. You have got so much powers. And it is giving you name, fame, wealth and everything in life. But it will not give you God. I want you to take God and throw all this trash. All these magical powers, miraculous powers are mere trash in front of God. This is Aishwarya. You catch hold of Ishvara himself. If you catch hold of Ishvara, even the Aishwarya, the power of God, comes under your feet. Govinda Shetty, I am doing a favor in return for the favor that you did to me. You relieved me of the distress of my worry and distress, mental distress about my mother's condition. Today I am relieving you of all the worldly miseries. Tritapa. You will hereafter progress in spiritual life. All these miraculous powers which stand as a temptation in the path of man's life, spiritual progress, are all removed, and hereafter no more magical things. You will walk on the pure and pious spiritual path. This is something marvelous and a very, very exhilarating in the life of Swami Vivekananda. How he repaid his debt. There is a famous song in Bombay. As we were college students, I used to hear that beggars used to sing that if you give 1 paise to God, tum 1 paisa doge, to Bhagavan 10 lakh dega. If you give 1 paise, God will give you 10 lakh. And this Govinda Shetty removed Swami Vivekananda's one small distress. Vivekananda repaid him 100 times by putting him firmly, solidly on the path to God realization. An embrace from Swami Vivekananda is like charging the battery 100%, And there is no doubt that Govinda Shetty would have progressed really in spiritual life. How marvelous is the life of Swami Vivekananda, where we find that wandering through the length and breadth of India, Swami Vivekananda is giving the feel of spiritual pulsation of India, not only to human beings, even to other people, including animals. Swami Vivekananda used to impart the spiritual power. There is a story that in United States, when Swami Vivekananda used to stay, he was staying in one of the house. He used to bless those children and the house owner. Along with them, during breakfast, dog also will come. And every time Swami Vivekananda will chant Om and keep his hand on the head of the dog, there is a trembling shiver will pass through the head to the through the spinal cord to the base of the dog's spine. And the dog will stand very still, focused, as if it is in meditation. So this has been narrated by the house owner and the children, that when Vivekananda touched the dog, even dog spiritual power, breaking all the bounds like water. There is an announcement. Your internet connection is unstable. You are able to hear?
Yes. Very clear.
Okay. The internet connection is unstable, but we find Swami Vivekananda's spiritual connection is going stable throughout his life. So in the life of the dog also, we found that Swami Vivekananda's touch could give the dog an experience of spirituality. And after coming back, he was staying in Belur Math, organizing the Ramakrishna Matan mission. One day, Swami Vivekananda was coming down in the Nilambur house from the first floor. So at that time, Swami Vijnanananda, who was a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, who was in his previous birth, as Sri Ramakrishna declared, was a Zambavan in the Rama's army. And Vijnanananda was a great engineer who built the Belur Math temple. And also Vijnanananda was a PWD engineer. He had written a beautiful book on engineering also. And some almanac also he has written. He was a very brilliant man and a brilliant engineer. So one day, as Swami Vivekananda was coming from the first floor of the Nilambur Babu's house, Swami Vijnanandaji just bent down to make pranam. Moment Swami Vijnanandaji touched the holy feet of Swami Vivekananda, he felt as if he has received a tremendous electric shock and suddenly took his hands out of Swamiji's legs. Laughing, Swamiji asked, his name was Hari Prasanna, so he used to call him Prasanna. Hello Prasanna, what has happened to you? You made pranam and what happened? Then Vijnanandaji told, no Swamiji, out of reverence, just I made one pranam to you. I never imagined that I will get electric shock from your holy feet. Then Swami Vivekananda, in a whisper, he told Prasanna, dear Vijnanandaji, this is nothing. You are getting only a mild shock. When I was in America, people used to frequently get heavy shocks. After mingling with those people in the Bhoga Bhumi, my spiritual power has become reduced. In America, you could have heard about these powers, and many people had such electric shocks when they touched Swami Vivekananda. There are hundreds of such incidents where by mere look or by one or two words or just by waving of the hand, the whole audience used to get electrified. That was a tremendous spiritual touch. I heard of one lecture, I read somewhere in Mary Louise Burke's book, that one day Swami Vivekananda came to the stage and he asked, what is the topic today? And they were all just looking at Swami Vivekananda. Then he took the hand like this and just told, I am God. Oh, marvelous, amazing, they write. The whole audience felt electrified. Swamiji simply told, I am God. And the whole audience, they were lifted to the feeling and experience that they were all God. Just by the power of voice, by the power of Rishi's words, such a thing could happen. Once in London, Swami Vivekananda again gave this experience. That is why Swami Vivekananda is the modern Acharya. whether we accept or not, beyond our control and beyond our this one, he emerges out uncontrollably, irrefutably, undisputed Rishi and Acharya of this age. One day in London, as he was giving his talk, was to give the talk, he came dressed up from his room, just stood there. Audience were waiting eagerly, and then he asked, what is today's topic, theme for today's talk? Hearing that it is Vedanta, I told, oh, Vedanta, the subject itself is going to be a little dry and very difficult, abstract and dry. As he told, just he became indrawn as he uttered this word, and then he started, Om Madhuvata Ritayate Madhuksharanti Sindhavaha Madhvirna Santoshadhi Madhunakta Mutoshasi Madhumatparthiva Gumrajaha Madhujjaurastuna Pita Madhumanno Vanaspatir Madhumagum Astu Suryaha Madhvirgavo Bhavantu Naha. Goodwin was there, Swami Sharadanandaji was there, and Goodwin writes, what an amazing transformation took place in the whole auditorium where they were sitting. It was suddenly as Swamiji started and the mantra started rolling from the divine tongue of Swamiji, Om Madhuvata. Madhu means bliss, sweetness. The whole atmosphere was so charged with sweetness that immediately those people who were all belonging to Christian religion, some people stood with folded hands, some people stood up, and some started kneeling down and praying, and some made namaskarams, pranam. And the whole atmosphere for 10 minutes was charged with elevated spiritual joy and bliss, bringing to mind the effect of the word Madhu, Madhuvata, may the breeze blow sweetly, Madhuksharanti Sindhavaha, may rivers flow sweetly, may the bees buzz sweetly, may everything become sweet, may the cows yield sweet milk. The whole atmosphere became so sweet that everybody was enchanted. And then Goodwin says, what lecture cannot do, just the chanting of the mantra. This is the power of the Rishi. When he chants, the whole meaning and the effect comes out as an experience in the life of the listeners, in the life of the audience. We hear in olden days Rishis cursing, may you become a donkey. Immediately the person feels he has become a donkey. Rishinam padanam vacho artham anudhavati. It says when a Rishi utters the word, the whole meaning runs behind those words and starts jumping in the mind of the audience, the listeners. So when Swami Vivekananda gave this Rishis the touch of the mantra, similarly he had given mantra to Josephine MacLeod, and Josephine MacLeod had forgotten that mantra long back. And one day as she was sitting, that was the room where the old President Swamijis of Ramakrishna Math used to stay, where Vireshwaran used to stay. Above that there is a room where Miss MacLeod used to stay. One day as she was sitting in the evening, suddenly she found like a water bubble coming out, bursting on the top layer of the well water. Mantra is bubbling out and coming out automatically, and she is chanting the mantra given by Vivekananda some years before. This is a typical powerful divine touch of Swami Vivekananda. We will conclude with one more incident where Swami Vivekananda left an indelible touch to all of us, and that is a perennial touch which continues to work even now. During his evening time of life, Swami Vivekananda one day, in an absorbed mood, remarked, who knows what Vivekananda has done? Only another Vivekananda can understand what a Vivekananda has done. What contribution I have given to this world, it will be difficult for people to understand. It will take years for mankind to understand what I have given to this world. Then he says, it may be that I may find it convenient to cast off this body like a worn-out garment, but I shall not cease to work. I shall inspire men everywhere. Today we are meeting under the Vivekananda Vedic vision is the touch of inspiration of Swamiji. I shall inspire men everywhere. What a tremendous dialogue, is it not? We hear so many dialogues from cinema stars. This dialogue, that I shall inspire men everywhere, till the whole world knows that it is one with God. One with God. This is a oneness, the touch of oneness, Advaita, with which Swami Vivekananda came from the Saptarishi Mandalam. And before departing, he gives that inspiring touch. I shall inspire men everywhere. And we are all inspired by Swami Vivekananda. And in these sessions, we will find it is the inspiration of Swami Vivekananda which is making this Love India Forum move, our Saturday sessions move, and Vivekananda Vedic Vision, Kanyakumari Vivekananda Kendra. The whole nation is moving under the inspiring touch of Swami Vivekananda. May Swami Vivekananda, seated on the lotus of our heart, constantly inspire and propel us to higher and higher modes of thinking and living. Jai Swami Vivekananda Maharaj Ki Jai.